Let's do some review. We're gonna toss in decimals, addition, subtraction, and multiplication all together. We're gonna go ahead and work on page B-45, and this one is actually working on some mental math. So while you can write these out the long way, and if you get stuck, do that. We're gonna work on how to do some of these easier problems mentally. We're just gonna do a couple of these problems from page B-45. Let's do our first problem, problem number U. We have 0.6 plus 0.7. Ooh, let's see, I know when I add 6 and 7 together, I'm gonna get 13. Where is my decimal point gonna go? Well, I know both of these are over half, so I'm gonna get over 1. So my decimal point is gonna go right there, 1.3. Now, let's see, on the bottom, I'm gonna find 1.3 and I'm gonna put U there. Let's skip down to T. 6 plus 0.375. Well, here I have a whole number, here I have less than a whole number. So when I add these together, I'm just gonna get 6.375. That's kind of nice. And that one's right here, T. Let's skip over to S. I have subtraction, 5 minus 0.1. See, I have 1/10 underneath 5. So it's gonna be 4. The question is 4 point what? Well, it's 1/10. But if I count down by tenths, I would start with 4.9. So 4.9 is right there. Oh, they are all smushed together. Let's skip over to this next section, which is multiplication. Remember, these are all kind of simple mental ones. I'm gonna do E. 0.9 times 0.4. When I'm multiplying, especially with these, I'm just gonna multiply 9 times 4 is 36. And then how many spaces do I move it over? 1, 2. So 1, 2, I'm gonna get 0.36. That's kind of messy, so I'll circle it. 0.36, is right here, and that is E. See, D, 4.4 times 0.07, I'm gonna ignore the decimals. 4 times 7 is 28. How many places do I move my decimal over? 1, 2, 3. Let's see if I can do this without drawing it this time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm gonna have to add in a 0. That one's kind of messy as well. 0.028. That's way at the end right here, 0.028, D. Smush that in at the end. Let's go ahead and do M. 500 times 0.1. Let's see, this is 1/10 of 500. Well, I'm gonna ignore the decimal for now. 500 times 1 is 500. And how many places do I move my decimal over? 1. So my final answer would be 50. I could say 50.0, but 50 is just the same thing. So I'm just gonna say 50, and that is M. Let's go down to this third quadrant. We're getting a little more complicated here. Let's do problem F. Oh, I have 3.7 times 0.5 times 1,000. I'm gonna do the 0.7 times 0.5 first. Let's see, that is 7 times 5 is 35. And I have 1, 2 places, and I'm gonna move my decimal, 1, 2. You can hear my cat eating in the background. So I really have these two numbers here are 0.35 times 1,000. When I'm multiplying by 1,000, I'm gonna move my place 3 decimal places to the right. So I'm gonna rewrite that over here. That's 1, 2, 3, have to add in a 0. So my final answer is actually going to be 350. 350 is right here, F. So notice, even when I'm doing mental math, I'm not having to keep everything in my head. I'm writing things down and jotting things down so I can see them. So don't be afraid to do that when you're doing mental math. You don't have to keep everything in your head. Sometimes doing that just slows your brain down. Let's do this fourth quadrant. See, 1.3 times is 0.02. I'm just going to ignore them and I'm going to think of it as 13 times 2. 2 groups of 13 is 26. Okay, now how many decimal places do I have to move it over? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That is 0.026. I see that down here. You have to do sound effects when you're looking for it. Here we go. And that is E. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Problem number I, 0.07 of 70. What is this? I don't see a addition, subtraction, multiplication sign. Of means multiplication. This is really saying the same thing as 0.7 times 70. These are the exact same things. Of means multiplication. So 0.7 times 70, well, 7 times 7 is 49. And how many decimal places do I move it over? 1. Weak. So it's really 4 point, actually, nope, that's a mistake. 0.7 times 70 is not 49. Like, I was doing 7 times 70, and that's actually 490. And then if I move my decimal point over, I'm just going to rewrite this because this is getting really messy. 7 times 70 is 490, and if I move my decimal point over 1, I get 49. 49. I was about to say, here's where, you can learn from a mistake. I was about to say 4.9. Now take a look back at our original problem. Why would that not make sense? 0.7 is way more than half. Half of 70 is 45, which is way more than 49. So that's a way of checking yourself to go, wait a second, does my answer make sense? And sometimes it doesn't. You have to fix it. So here's 49. 49 is I. Let's do one more of these. Let's do E. 0.2 to the second power, or squared. That's another way of saying 0.2 times 0.2. And I'm just using parentheses just to keep my decimals from getting lost. So that's just all that's saying. So, 2 times 2 is 4. And then how many decimal places do I move it over? 1, 2. 1, 2. I have to add a 0. My final answer is 0.04. Notice when we're multiplying a decimal by a decimal, we end up with a much smaller number. And here's 0.4, which is E. There we go. So hopefully that will give you a head start on doing some mental math. And don't be afraid to, if you run out of room here, to put some doodles on another piece of paper.